Hey, this is Brant with Vintage Statements, and today we've got some old lumber that we're going to put to use for a friend. Alright, so what we're going to do with this wood is we're going to make a portion of a cat stairs and then a ledge, like a shelf. So this cat can jump onto the wood, work its way up to the higher shelf, and sit there. And our friend wants this wood to look like antiqued, white, worn off with a dark stain underneath of it. So we're going to take this and we're going to make that work for her. And I'm going to show you one of my styles that I'm going to do it with, or how we're going to do it. So let's get started. Alright, so I've taken some of my junk wood here and we're going to make a 24-inch shelf and then 11-inch by 5.5 inch, so this is 9 inches wide, and a 5.5 inch wide steps. And I've got 3 steps and 1 shelf that we're going to make today. So it's going to be fun. I've already marked it off, so 24 inches, 11 inches, and then we're going to cut it at 5.5, and the same thing with this board. So let's get to work. Okay, so now we have our wood cut. What we're going to do now is use this tool, our belt sander here, to clean up the edges, get it a little bit smoother. We don't want the cat getting injured, right? So we're going to run it through this. If you had a sander, just a palm sander, that would work just as well. This is just going to be a little bit faster process, so we can get to the point of staining, painting, and getting this to look like an antique piece. So let's just run it through the sander. Alright, we've sanded them all down, got them all prepped and ready. What we're going to do is add some stain to it. We're going to let it dry, and then we're going to add our paint. The paint's going to go on, and when we sand the paint off, or parts of it, we'll get to see that dark stain and give it a nice color underneath. So that's why we're doing the stain, and then you'll see we're going to cover it all up with some paint, and then we'll start scuffing it off. And I'll show you how we get that done. See if we like the end product. Alright, what we're going to do now is going to paint our white. I just got some old white paint that's been way in the back there. It's probably years old. Still going to work for this project, which is really nice. I don't really have to worry about it being a perfect white, because I'm going to mix it in with this stain that's still drying, and then we're going to scuff it up, give it an old look. So the flat, pure white that this is doesn't really matter too much, and we'll demonstrate that here as we keep progressing. So what we're going to do is just got an old brush, old paint, we're going to just glob it on and then just make it smooth. We don't want big globs, thick paint. We want it still even, but we don't care if we get it 100% perfect, because we're going to sand it off. So let's just get started. Alright, we are almost done. Simple, easy project. So we stained it dark walnut, and then we put a layer of white over it. And now what we're going to do is just use our palm sander. We're going to use old sandpaper, so it's already been worn down. It's about 120 grit, but it's worn out, things like that. If you use new sandpaper, you got to move a little bit faster. It grinds a little bit harder, so that's why I like to use the older stuff, so we can kind of just play with it a little bit more. It's more forgiving. and we go from there. So what we're going to do, just sand all the edges, just go over it once, whatever paint comes off is what comes off, and the rest stays down in the grains and gives us our pattern. Now, the big thing to know, or the way I do it, is I follow the grain pattern. So I'm going to just go down, I'm going to go across, down, and then I move forward. I don't let this get complicated. A lot of people think about like, oh, what if I make a mistake or something like that? It's old vintage wood, right? So it's not supposed to be perfect or wear the same, you know, different patterns. So we go with that. Keep that in the back of your mind when you start and when I start. Alright, it's all sanded, ready to go, but let's just put a coat of wax over it, give it a nice little sheen to it, and finalize this piece up nice and for our client. So what they're going to do is attach this to the wall using metal piping. So it'll have different steps, and then I'll have a nice shelf over here for the cats to lay on. So let's finish it off nice for them. Alright, here they are completed. Let's just take a quick gander of what it used to look like. So, quite a bit of difference here. Real simple project. We used a lot of power tools, but if you had a hand saw, you could cut these. If you just had a sander or just hand sand, a little bit more work. So we wanted just to speed up the process here a little bit. Old paint, some sandpaper, and some wax or some kind of finishing seal. Keep these pieces nice, and you can kind of make quite the transformation pretty quickly. Now this project right here with the power of tools and everything probably took about 40 minutes. That's me listening to the radio, just hanging out, having a good time with this. So they could probably be done in a little bit even faster, quick time, but I was enjoying the music too. So if you like this project and many of our others, subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll keep doing some cool projects, even if they're small or even if they're another 16-foot kitchen table.